This right here is the only thing holding up Bitcoin. I will cover this at the end of the video, and I'll tell you what it is, why it's so important, and how to put this exactly on your chart. This is not even crypto, but this line right here goes back years and years and years. It's going to affect Bitcoin, and Bitcoin just went below an origin line that goes back years and years and years. See this blue line right behind me here? This is from my daily update chart from Discord. Bitcoin just went below this origin line, another line that went back years and years and years. The only reason why it hasn't accelerated to the downside to hit the next target of 19,260 is because of that line that we'll discuss a little later in the video at the end. Are you ready? Let's dive in. All right, check it out. This is the 15-minute chart on Bitcoin. We'll start with a short-term time frame. Let me go to the 1 hour chart. I will start on the 1 hour, and Bitcoin is trading in a descending channel right now. Check it out. Like that. Here we go. So this descending channel, and again, this probably will help you if you draw this on your chart the best to your ability. This date right here, this wick where this starts, is August 15th. It might be the 14th. Late in the 14th day, 15th. Right at the exactly at 0 hours, pretty much. Oh yeah, it's at 2300 hours on the 14th. So the last hour candle of New York time. So if you're in Europe, this is your chart will say it's on August 15th. In the Western world, or well, I guess Western Europe too. But in the far west, United States, Canada, South America, this would be the 15th. All right, or the 14th at 2300 hours at 11 p.m. Draw this on your chart. This is what's happening. This is what's happening right now. This is how I know that Bitcoin, after it went below this blue line here, it will bare minimum initiate a $700 move down minimum, potentially even. So that's if this orange line, see how when it hits the top line, it goes down. It sometimes gets a bounce at the top, right? But sometimes when it hits, it gets a small bounce, gets rejected by the next line, and then just tanks all the way down. So the best case scenario now for Bitcoin is a bounce at 19,250 today. Okay? Today. So the $700 move down has already been, I guess, you can't confirm it because it hasn't happened yet, but it's been initiated, and it's an extremely high probability trade that it's getting ready to happen, because this is the point of control. Ranges work. My range, especially when I build the ranges, they work very, very, very well. The question is, where will this dive down to? So what we're going to do, the chart that I started off with today is SPX. In the last portion of the video, so this is why you have to stay tuned, is I'm going to show you how to put that line in your chart so you can also perhaps put an alert, because when it breaks below there, this shit's going to tank. But I'm also going to use other traditional finance charts to show you they've already gone down below their equivalent line. NASDAQ futures, I mean, it's a big deal, and the stock market is getting ready to accelerate. And I'm going to show you the timing, the two most likely price paths. Bitcoin actually could hang on for another couple weeks here, but I'll show you that price path. But this could be the initiation of the move down now. So it's either ASAP, we're getting ready to move down, or there's going to be a retest on NASDAQ of the line, the line that goes like this. There's going to be a retest. I'm going to draw that for you at the end. So on Bitcoin, let's dive into this chart, make myself small so I can show you what's getting ready to happen here with a high probability. So now that this origin line, again, origin lines go back 13 years. It's called origin line because it goes to the origin of Bitcoin price, like all the way back, right? And they're all parallel. And I've covered this on my channel a lot. Origin lines only exist on my channel because I essentially invented them, and I pseudo coined the word, and I'm the only person who says that word on the internet. I just call them origin lines. All right. The rules are, after you break below, so not even the origin line, just outside of this, the independent of this blue line here, if you go below a channel line and use it as resistance, which was done here. So let's actually go down to the 3-minute chart. After you go below a channel line, which it did here, came up, used it as resistance in form of a failure. So even though it didn't get rejected, so this is a rejection right here. If price went boom, boom, boom. That would be essentially a double rejection. This is a rejection pattern. If you move it up, it's a failure pattern, but it's still got it. So the straight up rejection, failure, but I call that, they're both a form of rejection. It got rejected by this line. Now that it's come below, so specifically though, I want to be very clear, dealing with channel lines, if you come from above down below a line and get rejected, then you have to touch the next one down. That's just the rules of price. That's how it works. There are some exceptions, very few though. And the only way that it could avoid that rule is if SPX really bounces there. So it is actually possible. The SPX could save Bitcoin. It could allow Bitcoin to break those rules. However, that rule does not apply if price were to have raced up to this line and got rejected. It doesn't have to come back down and touch the next channel line. Does that make sense? So if price were way down here and it zoomed up and got rejected, if it gets rejected, it can simply, so let's say price came from way down below, it gets rejected, it could easily form a higher low after getting rejected and then spike up, and go up to the top of the trading channel. That's fine. But price has come from above this channel line. So let me get rid of all these arrows. So price has come from above this channel line here. See this green line? All right. And it got rejected by it. Therefore, the rules of channels are that you have to touch the next line down. And it's an extremely high probability trade. The only thing that can really save Bitcoin from, hitting this. So let's say this is going to be the slope with which it hits it. It could happen a little faster, but roughly around 19, actually almost 19.2 on the nose. If it happens a little faster, then it could bounce from a slightly higher posturing somewhere like this, if it just really starts tanking. But that's only going to happen if SPX goes below that magic line that you'll only find on my channel. All right. And if it bounces around here, if price decides to bounce around, do another failure pattern, and it hits this line later, well, what does that mean? Then it's going to go lower. It'll be 19,150. And that's just September 2nd tomorrow. That's Thursday, right? But the fact remains that it's an extremely, extremely high probability at this time that this yellow line, or this orange line, which is the top of the point of control essentially meaning the middle of the trading channel, right? As you saw when I zoomed out on the 1 hour chart, it's highly, highly probable. And we know the one thing that can make the improbable happen. And that's it. So what could happen is, because this origin line, actually, let's zoom way in here. I'm on the 3-minute chart. Really, Bitcoin, it doesn't look like it's going to come all the way up to this origin line again, because price already went below the origin line, got a perfect rejection on the 3-minute chart, and is probably going to get trapped below this line. So it's unlikely that today, for the rest of the day, that Bitcoin gets back over this local high here. So let's go put a pin in this. So for the rest of the trading day, today's candle, okay, the next daily candle, it could move above, but today's daily candle, I find it extremely unlikely that Bitcoin finds itself back above 19,850. It's very, very unlikely. It could happen, and if it does happen, then where it will get rejected from with an extremely high probability, even if SPX bounces. And again, I'm going to cover that here at the end, so make sure you stay tuned. If that improbable scenario happens where today's candle, today's Wednesday, right? Wednesday, September 1st. If the September 1st candle goes above 19,850, then it's even, extraordinarily high probability that 19,950 stops it. It would just be a retest of this origin line. And again, this line here goes back 12, 13 years in price history. All right. It's extremely, extremely significant. And even though it's 13 years old, price moves with it finitely. I mean, look, came racing down to it, bounce, below it, perfect, almost perfect rejection, right? So these are the two levels that you're looking for today. That's as high as Bitcoin's going to go today. Is it possible I'm wrong? Absolutely. I've been wrong before. I mean, hell, I just made a video, showing you how on the micro time frames I was wrong and what I did to miss it. So now let me show you two things that could. So I want to show you, if I'm wrong, why I would be wrong, what would drive the improbable to happen, and essentially what you're looking for on a chart. So let's dive in. So if I'm wrong, Here's why and what you're going to look for. I shared this chart in my Discord update today on how to make it. So again, links to the Discord with visual instructions on how to join in the description section of all my videos. And if you have trouble, like you sign up for VIP and you don't get the alerts, I just saw a YouTube comment about that. There is a Discord support channel. Just type in there, hey, I can't see the VIP stuff and I just signed up, and then my administrator will get back to you. Follow me on Twitter, Cosasverdes with the number 2. And the YouTube tiers, the Cryptillion tier of YouTube is similar to the Cryptillion Discord, but you don't get the live interaction with microphone and camera on Discord. However, you do get first dibs on my live shows for me to answer your questions Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. And you get 15 to 30 market updates a week, 6 to 7 days a week, in addition to the recordings of what we do on the Cryptillion tier for Discord. All right. Why would I be wrong? And what would it look like? Well, first off, this chart right here, a chart that you won't be able to find anywhere else until it's copied, which is fine. This isn't, some magic stuff that I'm making up here. And I actually learned from other YouTubers how to create charts, but with math, using it as a math equation, essentially, like chart divided by a different chart, stuff like that, right? So, but this one is a slightly fancier math equation, kind of like in Excel. You could put equations in for like sum, or do pivot tables or whatever, or I can't do macros on Excel. I'm not that savvy, but anyway, so using TradingView with Bitcoin and essentially SPX. So this is Bitcoin's performance versus SPX. Look, it was in an 8-day general uptrend. It just found resistance. If this chart starts to break down and SPX goes below the line that I'm getting ready to show you, Bitcoin's going to tumble way below 19.2 in a hurry. And I'm not really supposed to show live trades, but I'm not entering any trades. I mean, my short positions are really going to fire off. I mean, I've been holding these for a while, and I'm just ready for them to explode. So what is behind me here is really significant, because if this 1 hour uptrend, so on this chart that I've made, and again, for any Discord and Cryptillion YouTube members, I shared this as what I showed you how to do at the bottom of this chart, right? So I gave you the formula down below in that JPEG. So if this low is taken out and then a lower high is made and it resumes down, Bitcoin is going to tumble, with the idea that SPX is going to keep going down. So it does have a chance to form a higher low, stay in this general trend. It's still in an uptrend, right? Because this 1 hour low hasn't been taken out, and it hasn't necessarily formed a lower high after taking this out. But this could all happen within a couple days, right? Or it could just tank down now, right? Look, sometimes it just tanks down. But so Discord members and Cryptillion tier members, I mean, keep an eye. You might want to make that chart that I show you how to do. You might want to keep an eye on it. Set an alert for, perhaps set an alert for this area right here. If it starts going below this point, then that is, I guess that doesn't work. This point right here is from August 18th, this little blip. If it goes below that horizontal, then Bitcoin will start accelerating down fairly heavily. I would safely assume. So you might want to set it. I don't even know if you can set an alert because it's all zeros, see, because I made this chart up with math, with a simple equation. But just, you might want to put, and I should have done this on my daily update, but you might want to throw that on there, okay? All right. Because that's the point where Bitcoin's going to really start falling. Now, the chart that I've been, drum rolling, keeping you in anticipation, SPX. Actually, before I get to SPX, check this out. I've been on my channel, so for new viewers, this might be confusing, but in general, this is the Nasdaq Composite Futures chart, right? Bitcoin cannot have a bottomed until line A is hit. That is simply extraordinarily high probability. Okay? Your bottom signals are trash. It is possible, but Bitcoin doesn't have a fighting chance to separate from the stock market until the stock market hits line A. And all the people on, Fox News or whoever I don't want to call out any channels. I actually don't know what Fox News is saying, but on the internet, national television, them saying the bottom might be no, it's not. Line A has to be hit bare minimum, and it's actually going to be more likely line B or a wick below line B. I mean, the stock market has a ways to go. This is just facts in the charts. Jerome Powell doesn't matter. It does matter, but his his decisions and his effect on the market is you can anticipate it in the charts. This line has to be hit bare minimum, right? Okay. And so I'm all leading up to the importance of SPX on what's getting ready to happen to Bitcoin. So stay with me here. Stay with me. The two big indices, so plural index, that essentially guide Bitcoin, they dictate Bitcoin price to a fairly large degree, is NASDAQ. And if you want to have this ticker on your saved charts, you probably should. The ticker is right here. You just type in NQ1 exclamation and TradingView and hit enter, then save it to your watch list, okay? And if you want, I'm on the so it's easier to see this on the 2-day chart, but if you want to try to copy this, that is fine. Freaking copy it. I really suggest, because if you copy this, take a snapshot of it, and just roughly get it the same, you know that Bitcoin can't bottom until line A is hit. So you know it would help guide, not financial advice, it'll help guide you in your DCA strategy. Like, seriously, copy it. I'm telling you, like, please, and set an alert there. Even if the alert doesn't hit for, until February next year, it doesn't matter, right? Or just check it once a week. Please copy this. Seriously. All right. And I posted on Twitter. Shit. I mean, you can, if you want to. And I think I posted on Twitter today. So make sure, again, my Twitter handle is Cosasverdes with the number 2 afterward. All right. Now, take a look. So this is the bright blue one is the master origin line, right? So essentially that's the equator, right? Tropic of, I think, Capricorn, Tropic of Cancer. So the tropics lines, right, at 23.5 degrees latitude outside of the equator, right? This has finally closed below it. And remember what I just said about channel rules? What did I say about channel rules? If you come from above and you break below it and use it as resistance specifically, then you have to touch the next one down. So what just happened here? Let's zoom in. It's the same rules. I don't know why trading channels aren't more common. I just kind of started realizing they work, and I've adapted my my trading style to be a little bit less indicator heavy and more structural analysis based. But yes, the chart on the day, let's go to the 4-hour chart. So previously, yes, NASDAQ came below the line and essentially kind of broke a rule, right? It went below the line, got rejected, and was able to work itself up and out to break a rule with higher low structure. So if I'm wrong, that's what Bitcoin will do with the origin line. It will have to form higher lows and work its way out, but it still doesn't have permission to reverse. It just has permission to go on a bounce, right? But the improbable, that's what it would look like on Bitcoin. And that could take Bitcoin up to, let's say, I'll give you targets here later, but it's not very high. It's not 23K or anything. So Bitcoin could do this over the origin line, but if I'm wrong on Bitcoin, you will see higher lows on something like the 15-minute chart or maybe even the 5-minute chart, right? But the channel rules are, it already worked its way up. It lost it again, came from above, went below the channel line. And because it's the second time going below, before it moves to the equator line or line A, because this is the second time falling below, it doesn't need to use this as resistance before touching this line. Typically, if you come from above for the first time in a long time and go below, you need to use it as resistance before hitting this next line down. That's just how, you don't always have to, but it's probable that it will. But on the second downturn after a large failure pattern, right? And this was all caused by hedge funds essentially working with national news places to push the story that they already knew was false, that the Fed is going to pivot when they already knew it wasn't true. Right? They wanted a bear market rally, and they got it, right? All in coordination with national television. They're all in a club together. At least the director of V level and C level people of the outlets are. They know the people who have big money in the stock market. All right. Now, so that narrative was pushed, and it's allowed this to break this rule. Look, it's closed. Like, let me go to the daily chart. So it is now, I guess, in terms of probabilistic, math and statistics, it is confirmed probable that line A will now be hit. It is now confirmed as highly, highly probable. Broke below, Failure pattern above, broke below second time. This is going to be hit with an extremely high likelihood because of this closure, right? And you can see how far back, zoom back out to the 2-day chart, how far back this goes, right? All the way to the .com bubble. All right, now let's go to SPX. I should have cleaned up my chart first, damn it. All right. There we go. I already had it in a folder. That's nice. All right. Now look at SPX. I might have to go to the 5-day chart. All right. Now look at SPX. Let's stretch this guy out. All right. Take a look. Look how high above its master origin line it is, right? And this is essentially like its Tropic of Capricorn. This is the equator. This is the Tropic of Cancer. I might have Cancer and Capricorn mixed up, but I think that's right. Take a look at what's about ready to happen on SPX. That's the line I had zoomed in, right? Now let's zoom way in here and go to the, let's say, the 1-hour chart. Let's go to the 3-minute chart. Did you see how long ago this line was made? Like how far back? Look at how hedge funds and trading algos are dealing with this line. Origin lines work. Look, 3-minute candles. 3-minute candles. So once it goes under and uses it as rejection, it's going to, the whole fucking stock market's going to accelerate down. But it doesn't have to happen right away. There are a few ways this could roll out. And let me put a pin in it. So if you want to put this ticker on, it's SPX enter. Type in SPX, hit enter on TradingView, then save it to your watch list. I'll give you some coordinates for this line. So for today, on September 1st, the line is hitting 39.11. Let me go to the daily. If you go back, let's put a pin on this one right here. Going back to, and then after you make this line with these coordinates, you can stretch it out even more, right? So going back to September 28th, where it looks like this. Okay, so go to September 28th on the daily chart. You have this double failure pattern, just like we saw in NASDAQ, right? Or maybe it was Bitcoin. I can't remember. One of the charts just did the same damn thing when I was showing you it's a rejection versus failure pattern. Same thing. Price just moves the same. Doesn't matter if it's the price of, oil or black market testicles. It all rhymes. It all smells the same. So that's the coordinate. See that number? Okay. Now on your chart, you can go to SPX and hit it on the same areas. And then just extend it, and you'll have the line that you need to look at for SPX, and it's going to tell you with a decent probability when Bitcoin will start accelerating. But it doesn't just mean 3-minute candles bumping its head on it. That's when it's going to accelerate. Let me show you a few things that could happen, because this drop it could take 10 days, 2 weeks, 14 days. It might be the middle of September, because there are a few things that could happen. But one of the most probable price paths is acceleration now, like today, tomorrow, and Bitcoin at 3 a.m. on Saturday, which is the Bitcoin and Ethereum cartel, which likes to, that created Wyckoff essentially, or competitors of that cartel. They just like the order books being thin at 3 a.m. for tanking the market. So it could be this weekend or it could be tomorrow, but acceleration to the downside is among the top 3 most probable things. But Bitcoin is writing on this line, but in present time. So farther that way. So let's dive into this chart. Let me show you a few things that could happen so you could be prepared just be prepared. So you could be prepared. All right. And I'm probably going to use the 1-hour chart on this. And remember, this chart closes over the weekend, right? And it closes every day at like 4:30 or 4. I think it might be 4:20 p.m. New York time. So you can see the daily candles. The TradingView is uncalibrated or whatever. But if I go to the 4-hour chart, it's hitting it, right? And the 1-hour chart, it's hitting it. So I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart. All right, and I will make a little. I'm gonna put a guide here so I know when the middle of September is. So this is the middle of September right here, about September 14th. Boom. All right, so there are a few things that could play out here. Either And remember what this looks like zoomed out, right? It's, let me show you one more time. Zoomed out, this is what we're dealing with. And remember, I already said NASDAQ now is confirmed. It's highly, highly, highly probable. Like, as in, it would be stupid to bet against it. Line A will be hit, right? And SPX is on the cusp of initiating the same thing. Equator line, that has to be hit. And after you go up too high, it just has to be hit. It always has been. If you go too low, it has to be hit. See in the big recession of 2008, 2009, where did it bounce directly to and then hover around? Here. The equator line, how long did it stay there? Years. Stayed there for 1,200 days. Can you see that? It says 1,200, like 1195. So roughly 1,200 days. So when you go too far above it, what do you think happens? You're going to go down to hit it. If you go too far below it, what do you think will happen? You're going to race up to hit it and probably stay there for a bit. But when you come up from too high, you usually pass it, right? Because if you jump on a trampoline, the fabric goes a certain amount down. But if you jump on that same trampoline, but you jump from a one-story roof off your house to the trampoline, what does the fabric do? It goes even lower, right? And so when it jumps to the trampoline, the fabric's going to stretch down. It's going to at least go to the next one. It ain't just going to stop here, but it has to hit it, right? And the question is, so this is what we're dealing with. We're going to zoom right into this point with that context, okay? All right, so let's zoom in here. And again, this is the moment to, new viewers, this is when you subscribe to my channel, because you're not going to find this information showing you like what is going to affect Bitcoin the most in this capacity. And make sure as you subscribe, you hit the bell and hit all alerts. Returning viewers, it's time to hit thumbs up, because your thumbs up help out your content creator, so I can keep doing this for you as my hobby job. So I'm on lunch break on my day job. All right, here we go. Take a look. Hitting that line perfectly. It's a very, very old line, right? So obviously it works. I don't know if this line is on, hedge funds' radar, but for some reason it just works. What could happen is it could hang out. Let me do a couple price paths. It could hang out here. Maybe want to retest this, maybe as high as this line here. So it's possible you get a decent sized bounce all the way up to here. And then once you go back below it, then you're going to hit your head on it, and then acceleration happens. That's, and that could take till the middle of September. Remember, this line right here is September 14th. That's one price path that's possible. Okay. Another price path and again, this chart skips days, right? Because on the weekend, so you can look down below at the very bottom of this chart. See how it says September 9th? And I just wiggle it right a little bit. It skips right to the 12th. You see that? 9th, 12th. 9th, 12th, okay, because this market closes. This is spot price. All right, and the futures actually closed too over the weekend. But the futures of this, which is ES1, the number 1 exclamation, that trades 23 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? And I think it closes at roughly, I think it's 5:30 p.m. New York time. And it closes for 1 hour until 6:30 p.m., the futures of this. So when this market closes, Monday through Friday, you can just go to ES1 exclamation mark, and it's about the same thing. Is this line, if you do the exact coordinates for this line, will it be the exact same? No, I don't think it is. But this is the chart that counts. The spot price chart is very, very important. So that's one price path. So Bitcoin might not accelerate down for a while, and if that happens, it's just going to ride the origin line for a while, right? Especially since the chart that I showed you that shows Bitcoin strength versus the stock market, it's hitting resistance. So I guess there is a possibility that Bitcoin would spike up, but that one chart that I showed you would have to break above that resistance, while this chart behind me, that price path that I just showed you, the more bullish one, the lower high first, Bitcoin, that chart would have to bust above the resistance I showed you. As this goes up, that is possible. So Bitcoin could go back above the origin line and go all the way above the top of the trading channel, but it's just unlikely. All right, that's price path number 1, and I'm on the 1 hour chart. Another thing that could happen is the day, so maybe the middle of the day, this tries to go up, and then it races down on the last hour candle, and the daily candle closes below this line. Then tomorrow starts out a wick to up, and then it accelerates down. So the second most probable price path is acceleration down ASAP this week, right? another price path, so something in the middle, essentially, like literally in the middle. So one extreme is you get a decent sized bounce that lasts several days, like 2 weeks, and you don't, so that's price path number one. On the other end, it starts like tomorrow, you have a big Friday sell-off. And again, you need to be, that's what I'm hoping for, obviously, because all my shorts, like they would be extremely in profit. I'd probably double my futures account right then. So later, like 14 days later or tomorrow, acceleration or something in between. So what could happen is you do have a nice sell-off where Bitcoin, pierces 19K, it goes like this. Then it spends all of next week working its way back up to the line that I've shown you how to draw with coordinates. And after it gets a nice rejection through all of next week, then the week after, so this is line September 14th, the next week, then Bitcoin really starts accelerating, far below 19,000. But it's all about this line. Try not to sneeze. And I've shown you how to draw it. So if you've watched this video and you don't have this line on TradingView, go back and make the line. And I just showed you the 3 most likely price paths that are going to literally dictate Bitcoin price. Literally dictate it. Even if you don't believe me, first off, you're wrong. Because Bitcoin can't separate from the stock market until line A on the other chart that I showed you. Remember NASDAQ composite? And the reason why you'd be wrong is because Bitcoin doesn't have a chance to separate from the stock market until line A is hit. So had line A been hit, then I wouldn't say so confidently that the SPX line is going to dictate Bitcoin price. But line A hasn't been hit yet, so therefore it's just so likely that it's going to dictate Bitcoin price that I'm saying it that way. It's just super high probability because line A hasn't been hit. Click this video right here if you want some futures trading, F1 futures trading tip that you won't hear anywhere else. If you're new to futures and it could save you so much money, click this video right here if you want to see one of the most important crypto videos I've ever made. You just got Timified Worldwide. Peace.